Like the stuff that's going on with the Olympics. Like, oh my, what?
No, I'm about to.
Like,
I'm probably going to talk about
what's going
that.
on?
I'm probably going to talk about that honestly at the lock-in. I'm gonna do the lock-in late night
Yeah.
one. Like, what are your thoughts?
That's some.
Well, dude, they did the golden. They did a golden bull or golden calf, and
That's ridiculous.
in the ice skate rink.
Oh my gosh.
Then they obviously the trans Last Supper.
That's ridiculous.
But bro, it's Europe. Europe.
But it's not
if you
even.
think-
It's not even just Europe. It's the Olympics. It's the whole thing.
But that's what I'm saying. But it came from Paris, and a lot of people don't realize if you think like United States is liberal, go on the other side. They're like just as like worse as you can tell with what the stuff they're doing over there.
I mean, yeah. But it's about right.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely more of a spiritual
It is.
thing that's going on.
It's absolutely. I do not doubt that it's a spiritual attack.
And I see it more like beyond politics, beyond conservative, liberal.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual attack. It's an attack on the Christian church because of the message that they're portraying, because of the imagery that they're portraying. It's not. It's not physical harm to anybody.
Yeah.
But they purposefully are putting that out there, throwing that message out there, mocking Christianity for their benefit, for whatever, whatever I don't know what they're trying to accomplish there, but it's really upsetting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if, things wouldn't be the same if they were mocking other religions, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'd get a lot of backlash. They'd be shut down.
Well, you got to think about it. It's bad because I think of it one of two ways. One, I see the Olympics as a family event. I don't think it's just adults that are watching it. I think kids watch it as well. So there's that.
So they have an agenda.
Yeah.
They want to.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's attacking the family unit to the point. And not only that, but desensitizing it to the point to where it's like, oh, that's not a big deal because I've seen worse. It's like, no, that's not okay whatsoever. It's attacking the family unit, number one. It's making a mockery of the faith, which in the end of the day, Christians, we need to speak out. We need to be on the forefront to say this is not okay. But in the end of the day, it's going to be in God's hands when Judgment Days comes in regards to people's lives. For us, and ultimately when it's all said and done, we need to raise our voice to the point to where we need to be as loud as the other communities out there. I said it before in the last podcast that one thing that I will say about the trans or the LGBTQ plus community is that I give them their flowers because they were loud enough to go out and get what they want. They were loud enough to the point to where they go out, they make a month for themselves and all that. Why? Because they were loud about it.
But it's not necessarily so much them, but the message that the whole. I think it's bigger than that. It's the organization, the whatever Olympics or.
But they made that happen though. When it's all said and done, like
but that's what they want to shift. That's what they want to shift our culture. That's what they want to shift society to accept, right? Or to be comfortable with seeing that in television to, millions and millions of people that want to normalize it.
Exactly.
When go back 10 years.
Yeah.
Or go back 20 years. Whenever that wasn't really displayed like that. It's just like gotten out of control, and they want to normalize it to like you said, what's the word?
Desensitize.
Desensitize.
But here's the difference though. When you look at it now, the reason why that was allowed to happen is because the church was either split on it or too quiet about it. They're like, oh, it's whatever, this and that, nothing bad's it. It's like you gave them an inch, now they took a whole entire yard, now they took a whole entire football field away from you. So it's one of those things. Like I think one, we were kind of quiet about it when it started, and then two, when the issue did come about, when June is dedicated to that community, when we've allowed the enemy to attack us and then establish it publicly, then all of a sudden the church is split on it because they're worried about their political beliefs rather than what the gospel says.
Yeah.
And so that becomes a whole deal. But what I do see now is that there are a lot more people that are like alarmed by it to the point to now where they are speaking out. But we've just given ourselves a longer uphill battle to be able to really say and establish like, hey, this is not okay. Like me personally, I don't want my kids seeing that. I don't want anything to do with that. You know, it's not okay. One, number two, we're created in the image of God. We were fearfully, wonderfully made. We should be comfortable in our identity and who we are. When I was a kid, I worried about being an NBA basketball player. I never questioned my gender. You know, like that was never an issue in my life. Now our kids are wondering like, oh, I may be a tiger. It's freaking crazy. And then to top it all off, in California, the parents might not even find that out that that's happening at school. And that's a very, very sad thing. And so there is an agenda, especially because it's happening in a place like Paris that is very liberal and very quote-unquote woke like that. And so they've been given the platform. They can go ahead and do what they want. They went ahead and did it. And now it's up to the community of Christian people to be able to speak up and say this is not okay. And then obviously our leadership that is in office needs to go out and say that's not okay as well. And that's going to be another issue that we're going to deal with.
I don't know, man.
And that's going to be another problem. You know, like it's all going to be evolving. Like if the president of the United States comes out and says, we do not agree with what happened in Paris, that sparks a little bit of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that ever again. Why? Because the United States is a world power. And they can go out and they can say, but they're not going to say anything. And that's just the truth. Because why? Because the people that are in office kind of more align with that same agenda as well.
Right, because it trickles down into politics and all that.
It is political.
Yeah,
it's become political. But it's really spiritual.